She trusted him with her life, and he betrayed her in the darkest way. Take a moment right now to like this video, comment, share it with others, and subscribe to Moral Avenue. Together, we can remind the world that truth and justice always find a way. The rain fell in thick, relentless sheets on the quiet streets of Cedarville. Streetlights flickered against puddles, reflecting shadows that danced like restless spirits. Emma, a nurse at the local hospital, hurried through the downpour, her mind buzzing with exhaustion from a long night shift. In her bag, she carried a folder of medical notes, and in her heart, the weight of patients she could barely save. She was diligent, kind, endlessly giving, yet rarely receiving the same care in return. Then she saw him, Mark, a familiar face in the hospital's administration, smiled at her across the wet asphalt. To the staff, he was charming, influential, untouchable. But to Emma, he was the embodiment of silent cruelty, offering promotions to some while publicly belittling others behind closed doors. She had always stayed cautious, professional, and careful. Tonight, however, he insisted she ride with him to pick up supplies, promising it would save her time. And she agreed, because trusting him felt like the only option in that storm. Inside the car, the warmth of the heater couldn't mask the tension. Mark's small compliments veered into uncomfortable territory. He laughed at jokes Emma didn't make, leaned in closer than necessary, and whispered promises she hadn't asked for. Emma's instincts screamed, but exhaustion clouded her judgment. She tried to redirect the conversation, clutched her bag tighter, and prayed the drive would end soon. Then the world went dark. The car slowed on an isolated road. Mark forced her into a side street far from the town, and the storm outside raged as if echoing her terror. Emma's heartbeat thundered in her ears. Every warning she had ignored now screamed. This is the moment she had feared but hoped would never come. She felt powerless, trapped in a place she didn't recognize. She fought with every ounce of courage, but Mark's influence, his authority, his position in the town, made resistance feel futile. And just as the night seemed unbearable, sirens wailed in the distance. But when they passed, nothing had changed. Justice seemed miles away, and Mark's smug expression whispered the cruel truth. He would escape again. Emma returned home that night shaken, silent, broken. She reported nothing, fearing disbelief, ridicule, or retaliation. Friends whispered, "Why didn't you fight back?" Society demanded strength in the face of horror, and Emma felt only the suffocating weight of shame and helplessness. Yet she survived, and survival, she realized, was only the beginning. Weeks turned into months. Emma carried the invisible scars of that night. Sleep eluded her. She recoiled from simple touches. She questioned every decision, every trust she had placed in people around her. Yet Mark thrived. The town continued to admire him, congratulating him on supposed achievements. People whispered about Emma's fragile state, dismissing her as oversensitive, imagining her trauma into exaggeration. It seemed Mark's power was untouchable, until a small, almost invisible crack in his perfect facade appeared. At the hospital, a junior nurse named Daniel noticed discrepancies in patient files. Nothing malicious yet, but enough to suggest Mark's carelessness bordered on recklessness. Late-night shifts turned into secret investigations. Emma, hesitant but determined, began documenting her own experience. She kept emails, texts, and even audio recordings evidence she had once feared to compile. The irony was exquisite. Mark had thrived on fear and silence, but the very same hospital he used as a shield now became the instrument of potential justice. One evening, Daniel invited Emma to review files alone in the hospital archive. The dim lights reflected off dusty medical charts as Emma sorted through the discrepancies. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with notification. A local journalist had contacted her anonymously, hinting they had uncovered Mark's past, a pattern of manipulation, harassment, and cover-ups spanning years. Her stomach tightened. This wasn't just personal, it was systemic. Emma realized that Mark's power relied on fear, secrecy, and people's unwillingness to act. But when the truth started surfacing, it had a momentum unstoppable even by privilege. Emma decided she wouldn't wait for permission or protection. She would act. The next day, Mark was confronted not by police, but by an army of truth. Witnesses, files, records, and a journalist ready to expose him. His smug smile faltered as the town learned of his crimes. Panic replaced charm. The same hands that had once held power over her now trembled under public scrutiny. Yet as Mark was escorted away by authorities, Emma felt no relief, only a chilling realization. This was only the beginning. Emma walked home through the streets of Cedarville once more. The rain had stopped, but the air was thick with tension. She had survived. She had fought back, and justice at least partially had been served. But questions remained. How many more Marks existed? How many victims were still silenced? And was her town truly safe now? The moral was clear. Courage is not always loud. Survival is not always victory. And sometimes justice arrives not immediately, but inevitably in ways you could never anticipate. As Emma returned to her apartment, she received mysterious envelopes slipped under her door. Inside, a photograph. Mark smiling at a location she had never seen before, accompanied by a single typed message. This isn't over. Moral. Courage and truth can eventually topple even the most untouchable evil. If this story shook you, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to Moral Avenue, where we uncover the truth behind betrayal, courage, and justice. Please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, subscribe to Moral Avenue, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us continue spreading stories that inspire and heal. Before we end, I have one special request. Comment below what you would have done if you were in Emma's shoes. Thank you for watching Moral Avenue.